Hi friends, it's Belinda here from Be Making Joy. Welcome to episode 58 of What Brings Me Joy. This is a mostly knitting podcast from my home here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. This is where I share my knitting progress to help keep track of the things that I cast on, to hold me accountable, and hopefully give you a little bit of inspiration. And it's also where you can sometimes get sneak peeks of my upcoming designs. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're a returning viewer, I'm so glad to have you back. Thank you for spending some time with me. And I have to tell you, the date today is July 29th, Tuesday of 2025. And this is episode 58. And today I have one finished object to share, plus some yarn that I made during Tour de Fleece, just a little bit. And then we'll see what other projects did I work on, and we'll talk about my upcoming plans. So let's first talk a little bit about a life update. Not a lot has happened since my last episode, which was on the 15th of July. We had a clogged kitchen sink, had to call in a plumber for that. And that was an episode for a couple of days trying to unclog the sink until we decided to call the plumber. We had another funeral in our congregation. Happens too much. We had our middle daughter come to visit this past weekend. It was a stopover on her way to Canmore. She went to Canmore to get a tattoo done. And in general, I don't like tattoos. For me personally, I wouldn't defile my body like that. But my daughter's got some very beautiful tattoos. Her first was, as soon as she became an adult, her and her friend went and they got their fingers done half a heart each, so that when they put their fingers together, it forms a full heart. That's really cute. And then when she was living in Canmore one summer while working on the Banff gondola, she got a full color tattoo of the Three Sisters Mountains on the back of one of her shoulders with the Aurora Borealis in the background. So it's bright, beautiful colors. And then in Edmonton a few years ago, she got a Jeep tattooed on her bottom calf, outside of her bottom calf. She had it done in black, but it was a version of her red Jeep, complete with all the dents that she's got in her fender. That's cute. And then on Sunday of this week, she went back to the tattoo artist in Canmore that did the beautiful colors. And she got a beautiful ring around her arm. It's a near perfect match of the design on a set of dishes that her grandmother gave her. So that's beautiful. That's bright, perfect blues and oranges and reds. So yeah, they're nice. It's not cheap, but it brought her so much joy to do that. So it made me happy to see how happy she was. And let's see. Speaking of tattoos, my husband has an Iron Man tattoo on the back of his calf. The Iron Man logo from his first Iron Man in 2015. But like I said, you won't ever see me getting a tattoo. Let's see, personally, I've improved my diet slightly. And I've lost a kilogram, which is not a big deal because it's normal for a person's weight to vary by that much from day to day. But the good news is my blood pressure readings have been better. So I'm on the right track, I think. I use the machines at the pharmacy at the Safeway for the blood pressure calf that you put your arm in. And you can get a card from a pharmacy that goes into the machine, and it keeps track of your record of your last several readings. So I get a printout from the machine each time of what my last several readings are, so I can see the trend. And yeah, it's looking good. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I did some spinning during Tour de Fleece, although not every day like I had intended. And I had a successful sock week. So let's look at my projects, shall we? The finished object I did on during sock week. It's the Frose Shorties socks, pattern by Nancy Wheeler of Knit Sip Happy. And I should put this on a sock blocker for you. So July 20th to the 27th was the sock week knit along, hosted by Knitty Natty of Love and Stitches. And I tried to cast on during her live YouTube cast on party on the 20th, but I ran into a tangled mess trying to wind the yarn with my ball winder. I don't know if it was the yarn or the winder, but it was a mess. So I spent all of the cast on party untangling and rewinding my ball of yarn. So we'll find out next time I need to wind a skein, whether it works. If not, I'd like to buy a wooden one or an electric one someday. But anyway, making a ball by hand is kind of therapeutic once you get all the tangles out. Well, then I cast on July the 20th. I finished the first sock. 20th was a Sunday. I finished the first sock on late Wednesday. Started the second sock Thursday morning. Finished it Saturday night. I chose this pattern that I bought a few months ago. It's Frose Shorties by Nancy Wheeler of Knit Zip Happy. It's a toe-up construction with little cables on the outside of the pattern on the front, and then a lace up the middle. Here, let's show you this one. Then a lace up in the middle with the cables up both sides of the front. Toe up. First time I've ever done this kind of a gusset, so some math is involved to decide where to start the increases. She puts the formulas in her pattern with fill in the blanks to work that all out for you. And I like the heel flaps for the extra strength. And yeah, shorties. The yarn I used is the Cherry Cola colorway by Brine Dye Works, 80% wool or 20% nylon, and the contrast is the Whispers of Desire colorway by Fiber Goddess, the same one that I used in my Cancer theme socks back in April. And I've still got lots of yarn left. Yeah, both of those are small Alberta hand dyers. Both of these yarns are in fingering weight. I'm very pleased with these. It's a very fun pattern. Yeah, I recommend it. Frose Shorties by Nancy Wheeler. My other big success this episode is that I did some spinning on the drop spindles, and I'll insert some progress photos here. Don't roll away here. And here are my finished products so far. I've got 2 yards of a blocky. I've got 2 yards of a bulky 2-ply and about 4 yards, was it 4 or 6? Uh-oh, I forget. Of a, what I would call a worsted weight 2-ply. And my daughter made me bracelets from them. Actually, she made me this one from the first production before it was plied. So it was a very thick single when I was not doing drafting very well. So, and then she made this bracelet out of the second production, the 2-ply. And you can see it's thick and thin. It's not very even and uniform, but you can definitely see the improvements between the two. So that's a nice keepsake of my first round of production. And those were done from a comb top that I bought a couple of years ago from Beehive Shop, the Beehive Yarn Shop in Victoria, British Columbia. I don't know if I still have the tag. Yep, here's the tag. I can't read it right now without my glasses. Anyway, and so there's still lots of that comb top left, but I went on to try a different fiber. This one is Corriedale. It's from Sheep in Arizona. I bought this at the Tempe yarn store probably the same year that I bought the comb top, so probably about 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah. And so with this one, I'm getting a little more uniform in my spin. Oops. I'm pleased with that. And I love the feel of this so much more than the comb top. The comb top was a merino nylon blend, I think. No, I guess it's just merino. 100% merino. Milled and dyed in the UK. Anyway, for the Corriedale, it's fluffier, easier to draft. Being on dyed probably helps too, because I think some of the dye kind of felted in the comb top. Anyway, I'm pleased so far. This was just about 10 or 15 minutes of spinning on that one on Sunday. And I think going forward that I'm going to spin maybe every Sunday at least that I'm at home. I want to be spinning maybe once a week, a couple times a month. We'll see. So this box of supplies is going to go live in my sitting room where I've got big sunshiny windows. Okay, let's talk about my works in progress. Yes, let's talk about my works in progress. My temperature scarf is still up to date. I don't have it here to show you. It's in the TV room, but same old, you know. I got just a little bit further on my banana socks. One day while walking in the park with Dan, I started to try knitting and walking. I've been knitting and walking on the treadmill, but this is my first time ever walking outside. So I got further. I have one more yellow stripe, but after I finish the next yellow stripe, it will be ready for the heel and catch up to the second one, or the first one. I've been working on them in tandem. So when this one catches up to the heel, I have to sit down at home and do the heel. And then back into the purse and carry on. And then we had a full week or more of rain, so I did some more treadmill walking. Here's my most recent finished dishcloth that I still need to weaving all the ends in because I used scraps for this one. I started off trying to design a hockey sticks pattern, but it was just getting so messy on the back side. I ripped it out and just used the scraps in straight grandma's dishcloth pattern, corner to corner. So gotta weave those ends in. And I got a tiny little bit further on Ilana's knee socks, maybe about another inch. So that's really all there is to say about those. I've talked about them extensively in the past, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And I've made a lot of progress on my pillow, my design for the TKGA contest. So I'm not going to share details, but I'll briefly show you. One side panel is complete. The other side panel I'm just casting off. So those are coming along. I have to go look again at when the contest entry date is. So yeah, I'll share more details on that after the contest. Okay, so let's update my WIP count. So here's my running list. Last episode my count was 7. I since started and finished the Frose Shorties socks, And every time I finish a dishcloth on the treadmill, I immediately start another one. So my WIP count is still at 7. Let's have a look at my list. My WIPs currently are the placemat pattern from 2 years ago. I don't know when I'll get back to it, but I was designing it to go along with my grandma's tablecloth pattern. We have my temperature scarf. We have the dishcloth on the treadmill. We have the Go-Go Dynamo shawl, which is the mystery knit along from last October of Stephen West. I will finish it in September. It will go on my travels in September. We have the Ilana's Glow knee-high socks that I showed you. We have the sailboat pillow. We have the banana socks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And let's have a look at the things that I've done in 2025. I finished the Papillion shawl, and these are not in the order that I finished it. They're just in the order that I wrote them in my WIP count list. The Papillion shawl, the Dodgeball sit-upon, the Lightning Bug shawl, the Milton cardigan, the Trainer cloak, the Sophie scarf, the blanket mittens, another pair of blanket mittens, a skinny scarf, socks for Mom, a Love Note sweater, a Tracy Cardi for me, the Booble socks, the Wilfreda sweater, the Blackbird Cardi, Tracy Cardi for my mom, the Astropop tee, and the Frose socks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 things that I finished so far in 2025. If that interests you. It interests me. So let's talk about my upcoming plans. This is going to be a really short episode. I really enjoyed the spinning, so going forward I'm going to keep up that. I intend to spin every Sunday if I'm at home, or at least once every second week at somehow or other. But I won't be home next Sunday because we leave on Thursday morning to go to Ottawa, where Dan will be racing in Ironman Canada. The race is in downtown Ottawa, and a good portion of it goes around the Parliament buildings and whatnot. And we were surprised that this is happening on what we consider a holiday weekend. Here in Alberta, it's Heritage Day on Monday, and in many other provinces have it a holiday that day and call it something different. So I was surprised that the Ironman race is happening in around downtown Ottawa. I guess the town doesn't do anything for the holiday. Or does Ontario celebrate a holiday that day? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Anyway, the Ironman race is on Sunday. We're arriving on Thursday. Check-in for the race is on Friday. And on Saturday, you have to make sure all your equipment is ready. And you have to turn your bike over to get set up. They set them up in rows by your race number. So after you do the swim, you run in and grab your bike and your bike's up and hit the road. And then, so, what was I going to say? So they'll be swimming in the Ottawa River. We have to catch a shuttle in the early wee hours of the morning. Between 3 and 5 is the shuttle to get to the start of the swim. And then the spectators can get the shuttle back afterwards, I hope. Otherwise, it's a heck of a long walk, and I can't do it. Or there's public transit. Anyway. They swim and then they take off on the bike for 180 kilometers. And I found a Kingdom Hall within that area, within a short walk from the hotel, where I could go to the Sunday morning meetings if it works out in the schedule. Ironman Canada has an app to use where you can track your athlete. So you can see roughly where he is on the map. It's not exactly GPS. It's just calculated based on what times he passes certain checkpoints. He wears a chip on the ankle, and as you cross an electronic mat, it registers. So based on that, the calculations, we can estimate when he will be at a certain corner or point. And I can time it so that I'm at that point when he's close enough that I can be there and cheer him on. So we'll see in between what I get up to. There are several yarn stores in Ottawa. 3 of them are within walking distance of where I'll be, but I'll have to check whether they're open on Sunday. I'll probably actually visit those Thursday or Friday, so we'll see. There's 3 within walking distance. One of them is actually across the river in Gatineau, Quebec, but it's only a 38-minute walk according to Google Maps or Apple Maps that I was looking at. So I might get over there. That's Biscott Yarns, so that's a big deal. I think I'll make sure I get over there on Friday. My goal when I go yarn shopping this time is to select yarns to do the Ooey Gooey pullover by Andrea Mowry of Dreyer Renee Knits. This is her newest pattern, her annual Rhinebeck design. Rhinebeck is a sheep and wool festival in New York. I've never been, but I hope to go someday. I won't be this year. Anyway, this is the first Andrea Mowry pattern that I will be knitting, even though I've been following her work for quite some time. So I'll put in a picture of the Ooey Gooey pattern. It's gorgeous. It's ooey gooey, yummy. The pattern calls for sport weight yarn, which I don't have any in my stash, so that's what I'll be looking for. And when I travel, I like to find a yarn or a fiber that is local to that area. I guess now that I'm enjoying spinning, I can look for fibers as well as yarns. I have yet to decide what projects to take with me. I had Kathy choose some yarn while she was home for socks. So I'll get that spun up, maybe take that with me. Maybe my purse project, banana socks, will come. I do still have one more strip to do for the sailboat pillow. It's a strap that you can turn into a carry bag. And I'm ready to start another design for a stuffable neck pillow. I've got it roughly written out. Anyway, when I get home from my trip, I have to immediately block out those sailboat pillow pieces and seam that. And I have a plan that goes with that. But let me show you, along with that, my recent acquisitions and document what they're for. Oof. Big box. I placed an order with Mary Maxime, which is a Canadian craft supplies mail order company that's been around longer than me. Now they're online. Plus they have a store in Paris, Ontario, or London, Ontario, somewhere. Anyway, so I placed an order there because along with my sailboat pattern, I have a graph for a lighthouse pattern. So I needed red and black to add. That's these. To add to my collection of the Premier Yarn Basic Everyday Anti-Peeling DK acrylic that I'm designing that pillow in. So I'll get started on a lighthouse version of the same one. And that pattern's all written already. It's actually a slightly modified version of the one that I submitted for my TKGA Professional Knitwear Designer Certification course. So I originally wrote it in fingering weight. I rewrote it from DK weight. So that's ready to get started. And I bought from Mary Maxime a pillow form. I think this one is 16 inches. That's what I'm making my pillow design to. I'm writing my pattern. I have written my pattern for a 14 inch, a 16 inch, or an 18 inch pillow. So it's the number of rows you knit varies depending on which size pillow you have. And then I was playing along on the clearance section of Mary Maxime's website. Mary Maxime, the bulk of their inventory is acrylic yarns and jigsaw puzzles. They also carry many other crafts, and they have a bit of clothing and home goods section, kind of what people of my generation here would call the seen on TV stuff, odds and ends. So I spent a considerable time going through all of their, especially the clearance items. I went through almost the entire website. And these were on sale. The Mega Bundle, Mega Value yarn. 100% polyester, made in China. Not seeing the measurements right off the bat, but I think it was, there it is, 816 meters in a 40-gram skein for $7.99 a skein. And I bought 3 grays and 3 blacks. And the reason for this is, I'll put up a picture here for you. There's a blanket pattern by Fleece and Harmony of PEI Canada that they did through 2024. They released a pattern every month, and I subscribed and I collected the patterns, but I never got started because I couldn't decide which yarn I wanted to use. It would have been gorgeous in their yarn. Can't remember which one they were promoting with it. It was gorgeous, but it would have been quite expensive. And because we have so many blankets in the house, I didn't think I wanted to spend a ton of money on making a blanket. I'm not making it because I need a blanket, I'm just making it because I think this would be fun to knit. So I decided to go with acrylic, and I decided to do it in black and white because I couldn't think about what kind of colors I wanted. And yeah. And I'm also going to do it in double knitting instead of the just plain intarsia that the intarsia or stranded. I can't remember the original pattern, if it was intarsia or stranded, but I'm going to do it in double knitting. So it's a 2-sided blanket. So then I needed twice as much yarn. If I hope the map was right, I'm not going to redo it now. If it's not, that's too bad, too late, because these being in the clearance section are probably, I'm never going to get again. So I bought 3 skeins each, 816 meters. I gotta double check whether I was doing my math in meters or yards. Anyway, I'm going to go on the confidence that it will work. I will start that blanket on January 1st. That's my goal. Now that's pretty much everything I had to share. So hopefully a fairly short episode is fun to watch. That concludes things. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed my work, please give me a thumbs up so that more people can see this video. And please tell me in the comments what's been bringing you joy this week. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments or message me. You can find me everywhere as Be Making Joy. My name is Belinda. So happy knitting, happy jigsaw puzzling, happy crocheting, beading, cooking, baking, drawing, painting, whatever it is that you like to do, go make some joy.